If you think forests are just silent collections of trees, then tonight you're about to hear the opposite. A forest doesn't just breathe, it remembers. It doesn't simply exist, it calculates, communicates, and shapes the climate of an entire planet. Beneath the soil, a network of fungi is passing messages between trees faster than the internet ever could. Above the canopy, droplets of mist and invisible molecules drift for hundreds of kilometers and become rain in places they've never seen. Tonight, you'll enter a world where roots behave like brains, where the glow of mushrooms is a language, and where time is tracked not by clocks, but by rings of wood. Welcome to 101 Sleepy Forest Facts, where every fact is a quiet breath and every forest is a living galaxy. Let your breath soften, because now you have stepped into the memory of the forest. Hello there, and welcome to Moon Whisper Sleep, a place where science slows down, where the mind unwinds, and where every night becomes a gentle journey into wonder. Tonight, thank you for being here. Maybe your day has been long, maybe your thoughts have been heavy, or maybe you're simply someone who loves drifting through the quiet, learning softly in the dark. Whatever brought you here, you're exactly where you need to be. But not just the forests you think you know. No, these are living systems that breathe, remember, and reshape the very world we depend on. There are forests so vast they create their own weather. Trees so ancient they were already old when the first pyramids were built. And beneath the soil, a hidden network of fungi, a biological internet, allows trees to exchange signals like silent whispers in the dark. Forests are not just green. Forests are alive. There is nothing you need to do. Just let your shoulders soften. Let your breath fall into its own rhythm. Let the mind loosen its grip. Now imagine you're standing at the edge of a forest at dusk. The last light of day filters through the leaves. The air is cool and smells faintly of earth and moss. Every step you take is soft, steady, and safe. This is where our journey begins. Many people find that videos like this help them sleep better, learn more peacefully, and return to a quieter version of themselves. But you don't need to like or subscribe right now. Not unless you truly feel it. Just let me guide you for a while. If you feel calmer along the way, you'll know what to do next. Tonight, we'll wander through 100 fascinating truths about forests. From ancient fungal networks and glowing mushrooms to carbon vaults, cloud-making trees, and secrets older than civilization itself. Take a slow breath. Let your thoughts drift like mist between the branches. And step with me into a world where every leaf holds a story and every root remembers time. Welcome to the forest. Welcome to the quiet. Welcome to Moon Whisper Sleep. The quiet breath of the forest. A forest is never truly silent. Every tree, every root, every grain of soil participates in a slow and ancient rhythm. A kind of breathing that has shaped this planet for millions of years. When the sun rises, leaves open their microscopic pores and begin absorbing carbon dioxide, releasing oxygen. The same breath we depend on, but carried out with a precision that even science still struggles to fully understand. The soil breathes too. Inside every crumb of earth, there are pockets of air, water, microbes, and carbon cycling in and out like the slow pulse of a sleeping lung. If you stand still enough and simply listen, the forest isn't quiet. It's just breathing slower than we do. The largest organism on Earth is not an animal. It's a forest fungus. Armillaria ostoi, beneath the Blue Mountains of Oregon, stretches across more than 9 square kilometers. It looks like a fungus, but its real body is a network of microscopic threads spreading beneath the forest floor. If the soil were transparent, you would see something resembling a giant nervous system, weaving between roots, decomposing dead wood, and storing complex chemical signals. It behaves strategically, choosing which routes to colonize, which areas to avoid, and which trees to approach. It grows so slowly that to humans it seems motionless. But to the forest, it's movement, deliberate, patient, alive. A kind of brain, just one that doesn't need neurons. Forests create weather. Forests don't simply receive rain. They make it. Every day, billions of leaves release vapor into the air, forming invisible rivers that rise into the sky. Those vapor streams condense into clouds, cool the atmosphere, and return to the ground as rain. In the Amazon, over half of the rainfall is generated by the forest itself. Remove the forest and the rain disappears. Not eventually, almost immediately. The forest is not shaped by climate. The forest is the climate. The Amazon is not just a forest. It is a universe. Nowhere on Earth holds more life than the Amazon rainforest. Over 16,000 tree species, around 390 billion individual trees, more than 5 million insect species, over 400 species of mammals, more than 1,300 bird species, and thousands of species are still unnamed, and fungi. Scientists believe we've documented barely 1%. That means 99% of life here remains unrecorded, unseen, and possibly destined to vanish before we ever learn it existed. Some creatures will live their entire lives on a single branch of a single tree, never touching the forest floor, never seen by human eyes. The Amazon is not a forest. It is a stacked universe of ecosystems layered vertically into a living cathedral of light. The forest is a network, not a collection of trees. More than 90% of tree species rely on underground fungal networks called mycelium. Through these threads, they exchange heavy checkmark nutrients, heavy checkmark chemical warnings, heavy checkmark electrical impulses, heavy checkmark immune responses, heavy checkmark, and even preferential support to their own offspring. A dying tree can send its remaining sugars into the network to feed its seedlings. Trees recognize their relatives. They respond to messages. They make decisions. The forest doesn't just live. The forest thinks. The boreal forest holds more carbon than all the world's oil reserves stretching across Canada, Russia, Alaska, and Scandinavia. The boreal forest stores nearly 1 trillion tons of carbon, mostly locked in frozen soil and peat. If this permafrost melts, carbon will be released at a scale far beyond anything humans emit. The climate crisis is not only about cutting trees. It's about thawing forests, forests that were never meant to melt. Trees, record time. Every tree trunk is a diary of the planet. Wide rings mark rainy years. Thin rings mark droughts. Volcanic eruptions leave ash in the woods. Even cosmic radiation from ancient supernovae leaves isotopic fingerprints. Tree rings are not simply age markers. They are a three-dimensional archive of Earth's climate history. If you want to know what happened in the year 536, ask a tree that has been alive since then. The forests glow in the dark. This is real from Brazil to Vietnam. Bioluminescent fungi emit a soft green light to attract insects, ensuring their spores spread further. It is not magic. It is a strategy. Even in darkness, the forest finds a way to continue life. Undersurface forests resemble cathedrals, and that is no coincidence. Filtered light falls through the canopy in columns. Massive trunks rise like stone pillars. The acoustics soften your voice instinctively. It is possible that religious architecture didn't inspire sacred spaces, but that human architecture was inspired by trees. Long before temples, there were forests, and the sense of reverence we feel there has nothing to do with belief and everything to do with memory. The teaspoon of forest soil is an entire universe inside it are. Nitrogen-fixing bacteria, fungi breaking down cellulose, earthworms building soil structure, nematodes eating bacteria, protozoa eating nematodes. That entire food web exists inside a teaspoon of dirt. Forests stand because of worlds too small to see. The forest has a soundtrack, not noise. A structured acoustic system. Scientists call it the acoustic niche hypothesis. Each species occupies a different frequency range, avoiding overlap. Insects take the high notes. Birds take the middle. Mammals speak below. It is a symphony with no conductor, yet it has played flawlessly for millions of years. At night, the rainforest can reach over 100 decibels, louder than a city. And yet somehow, it is the most peaceful sound on Earth. Because it is not noise. It is life. Forests cool the Earth more than we realized. People often talk about trees absorbing CO2, but trees also reduce heat through heavy checkmark transpiration, heavy checkmark cloud formation, heavy checkmark increased reflectivity, heavy checkmark shade, and microclimate regulation. Forests are not just carbon storage. They are planetary air conditioning systems running silently day and night. The Amazon is approaching a point of no return. Scientists warn that if 25% of its area is lost, the forest will collapse into a dry savanna. No rain, no canopy, no recovery, not in decades, not in centuries. But something else is happening too. In many regions, secondary forests are regrowing, healing abandoned land without human help. The forest can break, but it can also rebuild. It is fragile, and yet the most resilient life form we've ever known. Forests remember us. Lost temples, swallowed cities, forgotten pathways. The forest takes them back, not out of vengeance but out of balance. Maya pyramids, Angkor Wat, ancient Amazonian civilizations, all claimed by roots and moss. The forest is not invading ruins. We are simply returning the land to its original owner. The forest doesn't judge. It waits. A forest is not one life, but thousands, layered together. A tree falls. It decays. It becomes soil. That soil becomes nourishment for another tree. There is no ending, only transformation. The forest is the closest thing Earth has to reincarnation. And so, What does the forest teach us? That strength doesn't need volume. That slowness is a form of intelligence. That connection is more powerful than competition. That stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is alive. The forest is not motionless. The forest is waiting. And when we learn to listen, we begin to hear ourselves again. Forests have memory. Some forests remember. Not through neurons or words, but through wood, soil, and rings of time. A drought becomes a thin, pale line in the trunk. A flood becomes a signature of minerals locked deep in its fibers. A volcanic eruption leaves layers of ash sealed beneath the bark like an entry in an ancient journal. An old forest is not scenery. It is a living archive that began writing before we learned to write at all. And when you place your hand on an ancient tree, you are touching a memory older than language. Forests create rivers in the sky. Not all rivers run along the ground. Some flow silently above us, carried by leaves. Every day, billions of trees release vapor into the air, forming atmospheric rivers that drift for thousands of miles, bringing rain to lands that have never known a forest. Remove the trees, and the rain disappears. Not slowly, but nearly at once. The forest does not wait for water. It summons it. Some forests control the wind. We often imagine wind shaping trees. But in vast forests, it is the trees that shape the wind. As sunlight warms the canopy, warm air rises. Cooler air rushes inward from surrounding areas, creating gentle but persistent currents. Viewed from above, a forest behaves like a breathing organism, drawing air in, pushing air out, maintaining a pulse of wind that continues even in stillness. The forest is not passive beneath the sky. It is sculpting it. Forests can predict weather not with instruments, but with chemistry. Before storms arrive, many trees alter their leaf moisture, shift their hormone production, and reduce water loss. Some species bloom earlier than usual, a floral warning to every creature paying attention. Indigenous communities have always known. When the forest changes its scent, rain is coming. The forest does not merely endure weather, it anticipates it. Beneath the soil is a hidden city. If humans build cities above ground, the forest builds one beneath it. Fungi act as electrical lines. Roots are streets and highways. Microbes are citizens. Nutrients are currency in constant circulation. It is not a collection of individuals, but a cooperative web. The forest is not based on competition. The forest is based on connection. Some trees sacrifice themselves. When a mother tree senses it is dying, it pushes its last reserves of sugar and minerals into the root network. Not for itself, but for its seedlings. It is a final act of quiet generosity, a biological will. No applause, no audience, just the continuation of life. Forests know how to heal. A split trunk is not a death sentence. It is an injury being repaired. Tree cells multiply and seal the wound, creating healing wood called callus tissue. If the injury is too great, neighboring trees send sugars and water through the shared fungal network to sustain it. In a forest, no one survives alone. Forest air is medicine. The forest does not just smell refreshing. It heals. Trees release natural compounds called phytoncides that protect them from germs and insects. When humans breathe these compounds, we experience measurable health benefits. Heavy checkmark lower cortisol, heavy checkmark faster immune response, heavy checkmark improved mood, heavy checkmark increased NK cell activity, cancer-fighting cells. A 2-hour walk in the forest can boost immune function for up to a week. Nature did not wait for science to invent healing. She has been practicing it for millions of years. Forests make music humans cannot hear in the forest. Many sounds exist beyond human hearing. Heavy checkmark roots grinding gently through soil, heavy checkmark water vapor popping inside plant veins, heavy checkmark fungi transmitting electrical signals, heavy checkmark insects singing in ultrasonic frequencies. Some researchers call this the hidden language of ecosystems, a layered acoustic system waiting for us to finally listen. Undersurface forests. Night never goes dark. Bioluminescent mushrooms glow green on the forest floor. Fireflies pulse like embers caught in flight.
Lave schiene beneat fallen loks.
In Brazil, Japan, Southeast Asia, there are forests that shimmer like constellations spilled across the ground. It is not folklore. It is biochemistry. The forest does not fear the night, carries its own light. Undersurface trees can smell and taste without noses or tongues. Trees detect scents through chemical receptors. When an insect bites a leaf, the tree recognizes the insect's saliva and instantly creates defensive toxins. Neighboring trees pick up the airborne chemicals and prepare their defenses before the enemy arrives. The forest does not run. The forest calculates. Some trees. Think each leaf is a biochemical computer processing. Light intensity, carbon levels, water pressure, temperature, stress signals, defense timing. Every shift in chemistry is a decision. Slower than a brain, but in some ways more precise. A tree may not think like we do, but it does evaluate, respond, and choose. That is a kind of intelligence. The forest experiences seasons in space, not just time in the tropics. Change does not come by month, but by height. The upper canopy sheds first. Days later, the middle layer follows. Weeks later, the understory responds. Autumn becomes a waterfall of leaves, descending like slow-motion rain. A forest does not have 4 seasons. It has thousands. The forest will outlive us when cities crumble. Forests return. Roots break stone. Vines cradle empty windows. Leaves shade what was once concrete and steel. The forest is not fragile. We are. We don't protect the forest to save the forest. We protect the forest to save ourselves. In the end, the forest teaches us the greatest lesson. The forest does not rush, yet it reshapes the world. It does not speak, yet it communicates. It does not conquer, yet it endures for millions of years. Strength is not force. Resilience is not urgency. Wisdom is not noise. The forest survives because it knows how to be slow, how to be quiet, how to stay connected. Perhaps that is the lesson we have forgotten. Close your eyes and imagine yourself standing beneath a forest canopy at dusk. The last light of the day doesn't vanish. It melts slowly, like honey dissolving into the dark. There is nothing left to rush toward, nothing to fix, nothing to become. Just your breath and the forest's breath. Do you hear it? Not silence, but the sound of life settling into rest. Herb, the soft hush of leaves, seedling, the quiet bursting of spores in the dark deciduous tree, the roots stretching deeper beneath the soil, fallen leaf, the faint weight of a single falling leaf, heard by the whole forest, slow, gentle, like a prayer without words. So the forest never sleeps. It changes shifts when daytime life fades. The night takes over. Moths replace bees. Bats replace birds. Bioluminescent fungi glow like silent lanterns scattered across the ground. Insects speak in frequencies we can't hear. Trees continue exchanging signals below the soil. Fungi distribute nutrients like veins in the dark. You are still, but beneath you everything remains alive. The forest isn't asking you to do anything. Just be here. Understand right now. The forest is doing what it does best. It is holding you. It's cleaning the air you breathe, purifying the water you drink, storing the carbon that keeps your lungs safe. A forest is proof that you don't have to race to stay alive. That stillness is not a weakness. That even when you are doing absolutely nothing, you are still enough. Understand, so you might forget the forest, but the forest has never forgotten you. Your body is made from atoms that were once inside trees, leaves, soil, life that existed long before your birth. You are not outside of nature. You are nature, and the forest has always known that. You are not sleeping alone. You are falling asleep inside an ecosystem that has been singing lullabies for millions of years. Sleep is not an interruption of life. It is a continuation of its rhythm. Just like rain arrives when the forest needs it, your sleep will come when your mind is ready. You do not need to force it. You only need to let the forest fall asleep first, and you will follow. Imagine this. You're lying on a soft bed of leaves. The canopy above you closes like the ceiling of an ancient cathedral. Moonlight drifts through the branches, leaving silver dust on your skin. There is no time, no expectation, no voice that must be answered. Only your heartbeat, steady like the slow expansion of rings inside a tree. Only your breath, soft as mist resting on moss. You are returning, not to a destination but to your original self. The one that existed before exhaustion, before noise, before the world asked too much of you. And if you are still awake, that's okay. The forest does not hurry you. The forest does not shame you for being awake. Sleep will come the way twilight arrives, not rushed, not forced, just inevitable. Just breathe. Each exhale is like a leaf falling to the ground, becoming soil, becoming nourishment, becoming life again. Even when you think you're doing nothing, you are already healing. Inhale slowly, as if you were drawing the entire forest into your lungs. Exhale softly, as if you are returning everything that is not truly you back into the earth. Again and again, the forest will take care of the rest. And when sleep finally finds you, remember this: you are not small. You are part of the oldest, most resilient, most intelligent system on this planet. You belong here. You deserve peace. You are already enough. And somewhere, right now, every forest on Earth is breathing with you. When you wake, the forest will still be here. And so will Moon whisper sleep. Rest now. The forest is keeping watch. There is a truth most people never notice. We do not live in the same time as the forest. Human time moves in minutes, hours, deadlines, and alarms. Forest time moves in seasons, centuries, and cycles. We measure time as a line. The forest measures time as a ring. When a seed falls into the soil, humans call it the beginning. The forest sees it simply as continuation. A tree does not rush to grow because growth, to the forest, is not an achievement. It is a rhythm. Every year, a tree adds a thin layer of wood to its trunk. That layer is a memory. To us, a year feels long. To the forest, it is just a single breath. A tree is a clock built from sunlight, water, and patience. Inside every ring is a record. How much rain fell, how much heat pressed on the leaf, how many nutrients flowed through its roots, what disasters came, and how it survived. Cut through a trunk and you can read the history of droughts, storms, volcanic eruptions, and even distant solar activity. A tree does not store information in books or hard drives. It stores it in its body. Human time breaks reality into hours and tasks. Forest time breaks it into cycles and relationships. A tree changes its oxygen release not by the clock, but by the morning light. It adjusts its chemistry not by calendar, but by the arrival of insects, humidity, and shifting winds.
Humans inventa clucks.
The forest simply became one. If trees could speak of time, they would laugh gently at us. One tree may live 400 years. That single tree has seen empires collapse, languages disappear, species go extinct, and oceans warm. It has watched generations of humans come and go like sparks in the night. In the forest, every life is brief. To us, our lives feel impossibly long. But if we listen to the language of trees, we might realize something radical. Progress is not speed. Growth is not urgent. Life does not need acceleration to have meaning. Forest time moves differently because forest priorities are different. A tree does not hurry to shade the ground. It knows it will shade the ground eventually. It does not panic in winter. It understands repetition. Where humans feel fear at the idea of decline and death, the forest treats death as a transformation. A fallen tree becomes food for moss, home for beetles, shelter for roots, and eventually soil for younger trees. Nothing ends. Everything changes form. Human time sees death as a wall. Forest time sees it as a doorway. Even the pulse of a tree is slow. We breathe 20 times a minute. A tree breathes once a day. We move blood in seconds. A tree moves water upward inch by inch, following the pull of the sun. If your mind moved at the speed of trees, every sunrise would feel like a deep breath. Every decade would feel like a thought. And maybe, just maybe, you would feel less lost. The forest is not slow. It is exact. Human beings constantly try to outrun time, compress it, and control it. The forest does none of that, yet it outlives everything we build.
Skyscrapers rust.
Bridges collapse, roads crack, but roots continue to travel through the dark, patient and unstoppable. We are the ones who disappear. The forest remains. The most meaningful changes in nature have always been slow. Mountains rise grain by grain. Evolution works one mutation at a time. Languages change sound by sound. Continents move the length of a fingernail each year. Forests grow the way truth grows. Quietly, invisibly, and inevitably. Human time says, hurry or you'll fall behind. Forest time says, nothing that grows slowly is ever late. And one day, when you walk into a forest and allow yourself to match its pace, you can feel it. Your nervous system slows. Your breath deepens. Your sense of urgency dissolves. You begin to understand that time is not only something you pass through, time is something you can belong to. When we speak of ancient forests, we imagine relics. But the forest does not consider itself ancient. Considers itself current. Alive. Present. Awake. Right now, every leaf is calculating light intake. Every root is making decisions beneath the soil. Every ring inside every trunk is writing the climate record of this moment. The forest is not the past. It is the living present. And when you stand among trees, you step outside human time and into the oldest clock on Earth. You enter a world where urgency has no purpose, where time is not lost but layered, where life is measured by presence and continuity, not achievement. Forest time is not a slower version of ours. It is a greater version of time altogether. The forest does not ask you to stop aging or stop changing. It asks something simpler. Grow slowly, stand firmly, give more than you take, and allow yourself to unfold at the speed of safety. If you stay long enough, your breath will begin to match the breath of the trees. And in that moment, you will no longer feel like you're running out of time. You will feel like you have finally stepped into it. Most people look at a tree and see only a shape. But hidden inside that shape is mathematics so precise, so ancient, and so universal that the same equations appear in galaxies, river systems, lightning, blood vessels, and neural networks. A tree is not simply growing. It is calculating. Every branch, every root, every vein inside a leaf follows mathematical rules that allow the tree to transport energy, resist gravity, survive storms, and maximize sunlight. Not through thought, but through form. The first equation written by a tree is branching itself. The pattern looks random, but it obeys a universal geometry called fractal symmetry. A trunk divides into thick branches. Those divide into thinner ones. Each division follows a ratio that repeats at smaller and smaller scales, so that a branch removed from a tree resembles a miniature version of the entire crown. This is called self-similarity. It is the same principle that shapes coastlines, coral, snowflakes, and even the structure of the universe on a cosmic scale. The reason is efficiency. When a tree branches in this pattern, it minimizes the energy needed to move water upward and distribute nutrients outward. The structure is not artistic. It is optimal. Inside the tree, this same mathematics continues. The veins of a leaf divide exactly like the branches above it. The xylem tubes that carry water follow logarithmic spacing. Even the opening and closing of stomata, the breathing pores of a leaf, follow geometric distribution to balance oxygen release, carbon uptake, and water loss. The Fibonacci sequence, famous in nature, governs much of leaf placement. If leaves grew directly above one another, they would shade themselves and waste sunlight. Instead, trees angle each new leaf at an irrational fraction of a full circle. The result: leaves spiral around a branch in near-perfect Fibonacci patterns, ensuring no leaf blocks another. Every leaf receives light. No energy is wasted. This pattern appears again in pine cones, sunflower seeds, flower petals, lightning bolts, and hurricanes. It is not a cultural symbol. It is a law of energy distribution written into the architecture of nature itself. Roots follow the same mathematics. They do not spread randomly. They expand following branching angles that maximize soil stability and water access while minimizing growth cost. Some roots grow downward using gravitational sensing. Others grow outward in radial geometry, forming underground vortices of absorption. A tree calculates the world it cannot see. It detects gradients of moisture and nutrients, then adjusts its architecture in real time to match those gradients. This is mathematics as instinct, geometry as survival. Even the height of a tree follows predictable equations. The tallest trees in the world, the redwoods, reach heights of about 115 meters. Not because they cannot grow taller, but because physics will not allow water columns in their trunks to rise any higher against gravity without collapsing. The limit is not biological. It is mathematical. Inside every trunk is fluid mechanics. Sap rises not by muscles or pumps but by negative pressure driven by evaporation at the leaves. This system depends on cohesion, capillary tension, and the physical constant of water density. Trees do not break this system. They obey it perfectly. Storm resistance is also an equation. The way a tree bends, rather than breaks, during wind is not luck. It is elasticity matched to branch distribution. The angles of branching reduce drag. The wood structure distributes force outward, protecting the trunk. A tree is a living model of stress engineering. Human architects study trees to design bridges, towers, and wind-resistant structures. The living world was solving these problems long before we poured concrete. Yet the most astonishing mathematics of trees is invisible. When a tree decides how to divide energy between trunk height, root depth, branch density, and reproduction, it is solving a multivariable optimization problem. It makes thousands of silent adjustments each day, responding to temperature, water flow, insect pressure, sunlight direction, and the actions of neighboring trees. This is not randomness. It is adaptive computation. Every tree contains millions of decision points without possessing a brain. The intelligence is not centralized. It is distributed through wood, water, hormones, and electrical signals. This is mathematics without symbols, algorithms without language. When the first humans carved numbers into stone, trees had already been calculating for 300 million years. What does this mean for us? It means that intelligence does not require neurons. Computation does not require consciousness. Wisdom does not require words. The forest proves that the universe thinks in shapes. It speaks in angles, ratios, spirals, and patterns. The equation is alive. Perhaps that is why humans, even without knowing the science, feel peace under trees. Something in us recognizes the order. Something ancient inside our nervous system relaxes when surrounded by patterns that match the mathematics of our own veins, our lungs, our synapses. Maybe we do not love trees because they are beautiful. Maybe we love trees because they are built from the same geometry that built us. The tree is a mirror, a silent demonstration of how life organizes itself when given time, space, and light. Not chaotically, not randomly, but with a precision that rivals any machine. When you look at a tree from now on, look again. Behind every branch lies a calculation. Behind every leaf, a ratio. Behind every root, a solution. A tree is not simply alive. It is a living proof that the world was written in mathematics long before humans learned to count. Most of us were taught to think of trees as passive forms of life, rooted, silent, unresponsive. But the deeper science goes into the soil, into the chemistry of leaves, into the electrical impulses traveling through wood. Another truth emerges. The forest is not quiet, thinks, senses, communicates. Its intelligence does not sit in a brain. It is distributed. A signal, slow and electrical, mixed with chemical messages, can travel from a chewed leaf down the trunk, through the roots, then into the neighboring trees. No nerves, no language, yet meaning is still exchanged. When a giraffe bites into the leaves of an acacia tree, within minutes the tree increases its tannins, turning the leaves bitter and difficult to digest. That is self-defense. But the astonishing part begins after that. Trees that were never touched also begin raising tannin levels. Somehow they received the warning. The alarm traveled not through sound, but through ethylene gas carried on the wind, a primitive communication system that existed long before humans knew how to write. Underground, communication is even more complex. Mycorrhizal fungi wrap around roots and link trees into a shared network that scientists call the Wood Wide Web. The name may sound playful, but it is more accurate than we ever imagined. Through this network, trees can send carbon, nitrogen, water, defense signals, and even preferential support. Some trees act as mother trees, delivering sugars and nutrients to young saplings hidden in the shade, because they know that if the next generation dies, the forest itself will weaken. This is not kindness the way humans define it. It is a survival strategy built into the logic of life. A forest lives only through cooperation, never through isolation. When a tree is dying, it sometimes releases its remaining stored energy into the network. A final gift, feeding its neighbors so the whole system may continue. No human civilization has ever truly mastered generosity on that scale. Some scientists avoid calling this intelligence or communication. They prefer words like chemical response. But if a system can receive information, process it, and produce a purposeful reaction, can we really deny that intelligence just because it does not resemble our own? If something without a brain can interpret signals, distinguish threats, warn others, feed its children, help its community, remember past events, and alter its behavior accordingly, what vocabulary should we use then? The forest may not speak, but it is far from silent. From above, a forest looks like a single blanket of green, but beneath each leaf, each root, each filament of fungus, each molecule of signal, is a conversation. This is not a collection of isolated plants. This is a society, structured, strategic, resilient, interconnected. The forest's intelligence is its decentralization. Each tree holds a fragment of knowledge. The network holds the whole. Like neurons in a brain, one does not know much, but together they create awareness. The forest is a distributed mind, growing through wood and soil. When humans cut down a forest, they are not simply removing trees. They are tearing apart a communication system older than language. They are erasing the memory stored in the roots. They are breaking a network that may take centuries to form again. if it ever does. And the forest does more than react. It anticipates. As climate shifts, trees shift their leafing schedules. As water tables fall, roots change direction. Some species alter leaf thickness, bark chemistry, or even suspend reproduction for years until conditions return. A forest cannot run from danger, so it prepares for it instead. In every cell, in every gene, in every molecule, a forest is learning how to survive a changing world. It remembers drought. It remembers fire. It remembers wind. It remembers the footprints of species that no longer exist. Carries memories humans have forgotten. So what is intelligence? Must it speak? Must it think in language? Or is it simply the ability to read the world and convert it into life? There is a phrase in ecology. A forest is the organism and trees are only its cells. The same way a brain is the organism and neurons are only its messengers. The forest is a neural network made of living wood. It breathes through leaves and thinks through roots. When you place your hand on the bark of a tree, you are touching that network. You are touching a living memory, a conversation without sound, a mind without a skull. The forest is not mute. It simply speaks a language older than words. If you want to understand Earth's climate, you don't need to look up at the sky. You only need to look at a forest. What humans call climate change, the forest calls memory. And that memory is not written in words, but in wood, tree rings, leaf chemistry, and the deep, damp soil beneath the roots. A forest is the oldest living climate archive on the planet. A 1,000-year-old tree carries the record of ice ages. A peat layer holds the signature of centuries-long droughts. Even a young seedling responds to the rise of atmospheric CO2 measured just months earlier. In a forest, the past and the future coexist. A thick tree ring means a year of abundant rain. A thin ring records a drought. A sequence of narrow rings marks a decade of imbalance. Carbon locked inside the wood reveals the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere at that time. Even tiny shifts in oxygen isotopes within leaf cellulose allow scientists to estimate the temperature of a summer long gone. No satellites needed. No computers required. Just the forest. When the ozone layer thins, trees change their growth rates. When storm systems intensify, they alter water storage and root structure. As fossil fuels warm the planet, some species migrate toward the poles while others disappear completely. Forests shift too, but their timeline is measured not in months but in centuries. In the far north, the boreal forest stretches across frozen ground, storing more carbon than all known oil reserves combined. Beneath the permafrost lies a vault of ancient carbon. If it thaws, billions of tons of greenhouse gases will escape, and the climate will enter an entirely different era. The forest is holding that door shut, and humanity is heeding the key. Tropical rainforests work differently. They do not store climate in soil, they store it in the air. Every day, water evaporates from the canopy of the Amazon and forms an atmospheric river flowing across South America. This invisible river creates rain for thousands of kilometers beyond the forest. If the trees disappear, the sky river disappears with them. Forests do not only respond to climate. Forests create climate. Replace a diverse rainforest with a monoculture plantation, and rainfall drops. Remove 30% of the forest, and annual precipitation may fall by half. Fragment the forest with roads and logging, and wind systems change entirely. Wet regions become dry. If the climate timeline of Earth is a film stretching hundreds of millions of years, forests are both the backdrop and the main character. They once covered nearly all land during the Carboniferous period, producing oxygen levels so high that giant insects evolved. Later, the ice ages shrank them. Mass extinctions erased them. Then they returned, rebuilding the world after oceanic life collapsed. Now, for the first time in planetary history, forests are facing a climate shift caused by a single species. There is no ecosystem on Earth that measures time as precisely as a forest. Spring does not arrive on the same day each year. Each leaf unfurls based on a combination of photoperiod, temperature, humidity, CO2 concentration, tree age, and even signals from previous years. Trees remember, not through neurons but through chemistry and epigenetics. The next generation is born already modified by the experiences of the previous one. When humans think in terms of the present, forests think in centuries. When humans talk about the industrial era, forests still remember the last ice age. When humans predict a distant future, forests see the cycles of drought and rain repeating for a long time before humans existed. We are collapsing the climate within a single lifetime. Forests respond across generations. Maybe forests will disappear, or maybe they will rebuild the world again from ashes, the same way they have after 5 mass extinctions. Because through every glaciation, every volcanic winter, every shift in Earth's tilt and orbit, forests have always been among the last survivors. Forests are the prophets of climate, not because they speak about the future, but because their existence is the future. When a forest remains intact, the climate still has a chance. When trees begin to die along the margins, time is running out. Forests do not hurry, but forests do not make mistakes. The real question is not whether we can save forests. The question is whether we can survive in a world without them. Because if the forests fall, time will not end, only humanity will. Forests will return. But when they do, we may no longer be here to see it. There is something strange about the human mind. We do not feel peace when we look at machines, concrete, or neon lights. But the moment we stand inside a forest, the heart slows, the breath deepens, and something quiet inside us begins to open. No one teaches us to respond this way. It is not cultural behavior. It is biological memory. Human beings lived in forests far longer than we have lived in cities. Nearly all of Homo sapiens' evolution took place beneath canopies of leaves. With smoke, birdsong, damp soil, wind moving through branches. These are not scenery. They are the neurological homeland of our species. In recent years, neuroscience has begun confirming what ancient people understood intuitively. Trees have direct effects on the human mind. A falling leaf can lower tension in the nervous system. Forest air, filled with compounds called phytoncides, can reduce cortisol levels within minutes. In just 30 minutes of walking among trees, blood flow in the prefrontal cortex decreases, the area associated with worry, and increases in the regions tied to calm, empathy, and emotional regulation. When we say the forest heals, it is not a metaphor. It is biochemistry at the scale of a planet. But this connection goes even deeper than relaxation. There are moments in a forest when you stand still, doing nothing, and feel as though the mind has divided in two. One part is observing, and one part is dissolving into the space around you. The forest activates a sense of self-expansion, what meditation traditions call the loss of ego. This is not mysticism. It is rooted in how the brain processes space. In a forest, there are no straight lines, no right angles, no repetitive architectural signals. The eyes track thousands of small, slow, irregular movements, light, wind, shifting shadows, subtle sound. The nervous system returns to the environment it evolved for, and the mind synchronizes with the biological rhythm of the world around it. The forest not only affects emotion, it affects cognition. Studies show that creativity and working memory increase significantly after exposure to natural environments. Humans think better not when overstimulated, but when returned to the context their nervous system was designed for. Intelligence is not separate from nature. It is built to operate within nature. It is no coincidence that forests are the backdrop for most of humanity's mythologies. The Greeks placed the entrance to the underworld in a forest of pines. The Japanese believe spirits reside in ancient trees. The Maya saw the jungle as the boundary between the human world and the divine. Humanity's earliest spiritual experiences were encoded in forest imagery because the mind becomes different there. The forest is where the brain stops being the center of reality and becomes part of something larger. There are moments among trees when you no longer feel like you are looking at the forest, but as if the forest is looking back. Silence takes on awareness. Stillness feels intentional. And you understand that what is observing you is not an individual being, but a network of life that existed long before humans appeared. The forest has no spoken language, but it creates a form of dialogue within silence. A conversation in which light speaks of time, wind speaks of movement, scent speaks of state, and stillness reminds us that existence does not require words. In modern psychology, there is a term called biophilia, the innate tendency to love and seek out life. The forest is the deepest expression of biophilia. It is not merely affection for nature. It is identification with it. When humans look at a tree, they do not see the other, but a parallel version of themselves, living slowly, breathing evenly, enduring longer than history. One day, technology may replace work, memory, and even language. But no technology can replace the forest, not because trees are vital to the climate, but because the forest is the last environment where the mind still recognizes itself. We can live without electricity, but we cannot live without a sense of belonging. And the forest was the first place, and maybe the last place, where we ever truly belonged. If the forests disappear, humanity will not only lose the lungs of the planet. We will lose the structure of consciousness itself. We will lose the ability to listen deeply. We will lose the perception of deep time. We will lose the reminder that life can exist without destroying. And eventually, we will lose the ability to understand ourselves. Humans do not go to the forest to escape civilization. We go there to remember what we were before we forgot. There is an invisible assumption that humans have carried for a long time, that civilization exists only within human society. We treat forests as resources, trees as material, and nature as something outside history. But if you step back far enough, that belief begins to look incorrect. Because long before humans built their first cities, forests had already built cities of their own. Long before we stored knowledge, forests stored memory in wood. Long before we invented communication networks, forests had mycorrhizal networks. A forest is not just nature. It is a civilization that has existed in parallel to humanity from the beginning of life. A civilization does not require writing, currency, or technology. A civilization is any living system capable of organizing, creating, sustaining, adapting, and transmitting information across generations. By that definition, a forest fully qualifies not at the level of individual organisms but at the level of community. Inside every square meter of forest, you are standing on layers of history. A layer of soil contains the remains of organisms hundreds of years old. A seed may sleep for decades, waiting for the right moment to germinate. Microbes regulate the microclimate. Roots communicate like citizens of a silent metropolis. And all of it functions without a ruler, without a command center. This is a civilization without a government, but it is not disorder. A tree by itself is only a living being. A forest is a superorganism, a collective intelligence similar to an ant colony, a beehive, or a neural network. Human cities have roads and water pipes. Forests have root channels and underground streams. Humans have the internet. Forests have fungal networks. Humans build walls for defense. Forests use chemicals, parasites, alliances, competition, and cooperation. We build with steel and concrete. Forests build with cellulose and lignin. And while our cities may last centuries, forests survive for millions of years, and even when destroyed, they regenerate. Some civilizations are based on accumulation. Forests are based on circulation. There is no waste. Nothing is discarded. Everything that dies becomes the foundation for future life. Energy is redistributed, not hoarded. We call it decay. The forest calls it continuation. Human power concentrates in a few hands. Forest power is distributed. There is no throne at the center, yet there is order. There is no leader, yet every part knows its role. When one area is damaged, another responds. When temperatures change, leaves shift in structure, roots adjust chemistry, fungi reroute their networks. Coordination does not come from commands. It emerges from balance. This is a degree of stability no human system has achieved. Forests also have an economy, but it is not measured in money. It is measured in energy, light, nutrients, and information. A large tree can act as a carbon hub, sending resources to saplings, receiving danger signals from damaged neighbors. The purpose of these exchanges is not unlimited growth, but system survival. The forest economy does not revolve around profit. It revolves around equilibrium. People say civilization began when humans learned to farm and build settlements. But that is true only if you ignore non-human life. Forests had already domesticated microbes, regulated insects, engineered climate, maintained water cycles, and operated food webs long before humans created their first culture. If intelligence is the ability to survive long-term without destroying oneself, then the forest is the most intelligent civilization on Earth. The forest shows that existence does not require domination. Growth does not require consumption. Power does not require possession. Survival does not require elimination. In the timeline of the planet, human civilization is a flash of fire. The forest is a river of time. We call ourselves the pinnacle of evolution. The forest does not need to call itself anything. It simply continues. If one day humans disappear, our cities will collapse within centuries. But the forest will return. Not with noise, not with ceremony, but naturally, at the same pace, with the same breath, with the same silent intelligence that carried it through 5 mass extinctions. Perhaps our civilization believes it stands at the center of the world. The forest has never believed that, and perhaps that is the reason it still endures. When humans leave, what truly happens to a forest? Not in romantic imagination, but in biological reality and geological time. The answer is not what we usually think. There is no moment of ceremony. No one sits down to take notes. No leader rises to announce a new era. The forest does not pause, sigh, or declare itself free. It simply continues, slowly, precisely, without an audience. When a forest is no longer seen by humans, it does not become wild. It becomes accurate. There are no more artificially cleared paths. No more ugly trees removed. No straight boundaries. No selective pruning based on human aesthetics. The twisted trunks, the slow-growing individuals, the trees once considered imperfect, become the structural anchors of the ecosystem. Nature has always prioritized what works, not what looks beautiful. In silence, the forest rewrites its own architecture. The balance of species shifts. Fast-growing trees are the first to disappear if a storm arrives. Slow, dense, deep-rooted trees endure and become the foundation for the next generation. The map of the forest is redrawn by wind, water, and gravity, not by human hands. A forest that is no longer observed also changes its internal conversations. Animals that once avoided daylight begin to move freely. Saplings that never dared to rise beneath heavy shade begin to receive light. Species thought to be gone return along forgotten trails. A system that has been pressed into compliance begins to exhale again. The strangest part is not what changes, but what does not. Even when no one is watching, the forest continues to communicate. Roots still transmit signals. Fungi still coordinate resources. Trees still warn one another of threats. Communication never depended on witnesses. The only thing that disappears is the illusion that the forest exists for us. An unmanaged forest does not collapse into chaos. Invasive species will not take over unless humans introduce them. Fire may burn through sections, but those fires open space for new generations to grow. Disturbance is a cycle, not an error. In a world without people, vines may engulf trunks. Canopies may drop lower. Vertical structure may partially collapse. But none of this means the forest has become degraded. The forest does not need to meet human standards of beauty to be complete. No one measures tree height. No one counts rings. No one tags the bears or birds. And because of that, everything returns to its natural position. A self-regulating system so perfect it needs no explanation. Without being watched, the forest becomes a pure secret. It carries the memory of vanished rivers, extinct species, storms that split its branches, and droughts burned into its rings. Keeps recording even if no one will ever read the record. The forest does not need to prove it is intelligent. It only needs to remain alive. When no one is watching, the forest reveals a truth we often forget. Its survival has never depended on us. We are a variable in its world, not the center of it. And perhaps the hardest truth is this: the forest does not need humans, but humans need the forest. If you walk deep into a forest that has never been seen, you may finally understand something no book can teach. Life does not require observation to be meaningful. Sometimes the most authentic things are the ones that happen without witnesses. Some things exist not to be seen, but to remind us that the world continues, even when we are no longer part of it. There is something strange about forests. They never forget the species that disappeared. Even without books, museums, or storytellers, the memory remains. Not in words, but in structure. Because the forest does not preserve history through language. It preserves it through form, through chemistry, through the empty spaces in the ecosystem that only an extinct species could once fill. In the Amazon, there are giant trees that no longer reproduce. Not because they are weak, but because the animals that once dispersed their seeds vanished thousands of years ago. The seeds still fall, but no one carries them anymore. A fragment of memory survives, but it has no future. In Africa, some legume species still produce fruits far larger than necessary. Their size was not meant for modern elephants, but for the extinct megafauna that disappeared 10,000 years ago. The trees continue making fruit for a species that no longer exists. It is a biological form of loyalty, an unerasable memory. Walk deep into an old-growth forest and you will see strange empty spaces. Areas with enough light and soil for life, yet nothing grows there. Those voids are ecological scars. Places where a species once stood, fed, nested, dug, or slept. The forest still waits, even though the one it waits for will never return. The forest remembers through soil layers. Ancient pollen trapped in peat reveals grasses lost since the Ice Age. Microscopic fossils inside tree rings record past climates. Carbon inside living tissue carries the signature of extinctions. The forest holds no funerals. It records. Some memories are stored in energy. When the dodo vanished, many tree species in Mauritius lost their ability to germinate. Their seeds only sprouted after passing through the bird's digestive system. Today, those trees still exist, but they can no longer create a next generation. They are living remnants, like witnesses to a story whose ending has been erased. The forest does not mourn the way humans mourn. It does not weep or build memorials, but it preserves the structure that allows return. Seeds wait for centuries. Soil keeps the nutrients ready. Microbes maintain the process for a partner that no longer comes. The forest never buries memory, keeps it available. Even after a species disappears, its signals linger. In the DNA of species that survived, in half-forgotten symbiotic relationships, in pheromones that still have no receiver, in flowers that bloom on time but have no visitor. Memory is not what happened. Memory is the structure designed for what once happened. In psychology, we call these empty shapes nostalgia. In the forest, they are biology. One day, humans will vanish too, and the forest will remember us the same way. Not with grief, but with structure. Species will evolve in new directions, but the forms made for us will remain for a time. Fruits too large for any remaining animal to carry, plants evolve to resist pests that no longer exist, chemical defenses shaped by fires that humans once set. Nature does not erase history. Nature absorbs it into itself. No species is truly gone if its absence continues to shape the behavior and evolution of others. The mammoth still lives in the trees that produce oversized fruit. The saber-toothed cat still lives in the reflexes of deer. The dodo still lives in the seeds that wait to be scratched and softened. And someday, humans may also continue in this way, not through monuments or archives, but through irreversible changes written into the forest itself. The forest is the final library when all the others have disappeared. And it is written in the only language that never dies, structure. In the silence of the forest, everything that has ever lived leaves a trace. Nothing truly vanishes. It only changes form and waits. Even the memory of extinct species. A forest not only stores memories, it also predicts the future in its own way. Humans often think of the future using models, climate charts, and data projections. A forest predicts it through self-adjustment, biological experiments, and millions of years of trial, error, and adaptation. The first thing a forest does when facing the future is to diversify. When the environment becomes unstable, humans store wealth. A forest stores variation. Every tree, every species, every seed carries a different answer to the question. If the world changes, who will survive? In drought, a seedling with deep roots lives. In seasons of constant rain, a hollow-stemmed species stays buoyant. Under heavy shade, broad leaves gather every remaining photon of light. The forest does not know which climate will come, but it prepares for all of them. For the forest, the future is not an accurate prediction, but an infinite possibility. A forest also changes the soil before changing its trees. Two forests in the same climate will evolve differently if their soils differ. If the ground becomes too acidic, the forest drops alkaline foliage. If nutrients are scarce, mycorrhizal fungi deepen their networks. When the future is uncertain, a forest begins by reshaping its foundation, just as humans reform education before they reform society. In ancient forests, old trees do not merely survive for themselves. When a giant tree is about to die, it sends carbon and water through fungal networks to young saplings. It is not a sentimental sacrifice. It is an evolutionary strategy. The forest depends on its next generation, not its current one. At the genetic level, the forest always invests in a world it may never see. Some phenomena feel mystical to us, but to a forest, they are simply survival mechanisms. After a wildfire, green shoots return to the soil within weeks. Fire does not create panic in a forest, it activates a hidden program. Heat cracks seeds, root microbiomes convert ash into fertilizer, and the first insects and fungi reappear to begin reconstruction. If you look at a forest after a fire, you see destruction. But if you look at it through the forest's sense of time, you are witnessing reinvention. The future is never a restoration of the past. It is a new structure built on the ruins of the old. The forest also writes its future into its wood. When climate shifts, tree rings change in width and density. Those rings become data that scientists can read centuries later. A tree knows nothing of numbers or language, yet it still records climate forecasts in its body. The rings are an unwritten archive of what is coming. The future of the forest also lives in tiny, almost invisible signals. When pollinators decline, flowering slows. When nutrients fade, leaves change color before autumn arrives. When groundwater retreats, roots grow downward into the rock. The forest expresses future disturbance through its biology. All we need to do is listen. There is a paradox. The forest moves toward the future by accepting death. A tree falls, but its decaying body feeds the soil. A hollow stump becomes a shelter for insects. A gap in the canopy becomes sunlight for a new generation. In a forest, death does not erase the future, it clears the way for it. The forest also protects the future with distributed memory. It has no central brain, no leader, no command system. Yet warnings, sugars, and water are sent across the network. This is why a forest can survive even when part of it is destroyed. The future never depends on one individual. This is a principle humanity is still learning. Humans build the future by taking. Forests build it by sharing. Beneath the darkness, roots weave individuals into a single organism. A single tree falls, but the forest persists. A species disappears, but the ecosystem reorganizes to fill the gap. This is not perfection. It is adaptability. One day, when the last human walks away from the forest will not disappear. It will change. It will regrow. The question is not whether the forest can survive without us. The question is whether the forest will have enough time to use the intelligence evolution has given it. Forests have outlived more civilizations than any history book can record. They have witnessed mass extinctions, climate reversals, melting ice, rising seas, and drifting continents. The future does not frighten the forest, but it will challenge its ability to adapt faster than ever before. The real question is not, what will happen to forests if the climate changes? The real question is, what will happen to us if forests cannot rebuild fast enough? The future of forests and the future of humans are not separate. The proof is in a breath. One breath of ours is the work of countless leaves. A single sip of water is the work of roots and soil. A day without forests is a world smaller, poorer, and more fragile. If a forest could speak of the future, it would speak simply. Give me time and I will give you life. The forest's future does not depend on promises. It depends on evolution, not rushed, not fearful, but patient and precise. The forest does not ask what we will do for it. The forest asks whether we are still capable of living at its pace. What happens to a forest when no one is there to see it? When the last footsteps are gone, when the chainsaws fall silent, when there are no more fences, ownership disputes, or maps that draw borders around what once belonged to someone. When humans disappear, the forest does not change all at once. There is no dramatic transformation, no moment of triumph or relief. The forest does what it has always done. It continues. In the first years, human traces are still visible. Notches in trunks, a chunk of concrete, a broken fence, a forgotten road. But to the forest, these are nothing more than another layer of soil. Roots split the concrete. Moss covers steel. Leaves bury what we once called infrastructure. The order of humans fades. The order of the forest returns. In a forest without supervision, nothing is abandoned. Everything has a place, a purpose, and a cycle. Dead branches become fuel for fire, and fire creates space for seedlings. The body of a fallen animal becomes a feast for insects. A fallen tree becomes a bridge for moss, fungi, and the next generation. What we call ruin, the forest calls resource. What we call decay, the forest calls preparation. When the roads are empty, the rhythm changes. Shy animals step into the open. Deer walk across what used to be a parking lot. Birds nest on broken power poles. Foxes sleep where cars once passed every morning. The absence of humans is not emptiness. It is a return. But the forest does not erase us. Keeps our memory in its own way. Certain trees planted in neat rows still grow with that faint geometry. Old roads become pathways for animals. Exotic species we introduced continue to compete for space. The forest has memory, but not like ours. It does not retell. It repurposes. The forest does not need humans to survive. But if left alone long enough, it becomes something ancient again. The weak species disappear. Predators return. The canopy thickens until sunlight touches the ground only in rare moments. The ecosystem becomes deeper, slower, more precise, and more closed. The civilization of the forest is balanced without observation. We often believe nature needs to be saved. But most of the time, it is we who need saving from a world without nature. When a forest is left alone long enough, the first thing that appears is not chaos, but intelligence. Trees begin interacting through fungal networks again. Insects reappear in cycles. Animals change their behavior. Our interference fades from the system. Silence becomes default. An abandoned forest does not collapse into disorder. It returns to its logic. A forest does not need to be seen to exist. It does not need spectators, guardians, or understanding. A tree does not bloom so a human can admire it. It blooms to preserve its species, to gamble on survival, to place a seed in the wind and let chance decide its fate. Forest beauty is not created for us. Yet anyone who witnesses it is changed. A deeper question arises. What does the forest do when there is no one left to tell its story? The forest still speaks, just not to humans. It speaks to the soil through fallen leaves, to fungi through roots, to animals through presence, to the future through seeds. Every shift of color is a sentence. Every ring of wood is a paragraph. The forest is never silent. We simply stand on the wrong side of the conversation. If humans vanished completely, the forest would lose a disturber, but also a witness. The universe is indifferent. There is no law that requires forests to exist for the sake of human beauty. But if forests remain, Earth remains habitable. Without forests, water changes its path, dust and carbon fill the air, soil hardens, and the sky dries out. The forest can live without us. We cannot live without the forest. Without human eyes, the forest will continue to grow with precision and indifference. It will not remember us fondly, nor punish us. It will simply continue its ancient work, creating life, recycling death, maintaining equilibrium without needing praise or forgiveness. In our absence, the forest teaches the clearest lesson about our place in the world. We are not the center. We are visitors. In the end, what the forest does when no one is there is exactly what it has always done. It lives on. And if someday we return, the forest will still be there. Not waiting, not resentful, but changed, evolved, transformed. Because a forest does not stand still to be found. It always moves forward, one leaf at a time, one season at a time. Even when no one is left to read its unfolding story, there is a truth we rarely recognize. Humans do not simply live in forests. A part of the forest also lives within us. When neuroscientists study brain recovery, They find that forest soundscapes slow breathing, reduce cortisol, and stabilize alpha waves, states associated with meditation and deep awareness. That reaction is not emotional. It is biological memory. Humans emerged millions of years ago in open woodlands, savannas, and green valleys. Our brains evolved alongside leaf movement, humidity, and filtered light through branches. When we enter a forest, we are not relaxing. We are returning to a sensory environment our bodies have known for hundreds of thousands of generations. Forests also affect the way we think. Many philosophers, poets, and scientists had their greatest insights in the woods. Not because nature inspired them, but because the forest forces the mind to follow a different kind of time. Not rushed, not fragmented, not constantly defensive. Slowness expands thought instead of constricting it. Standing among trees, we do not only receive a landscape, we receive a structure of mind. The root network is like neurons. The layered canopy resembles layers of consciousness. The fungal web mirrors a collective subconscious. The forest is not a metaphor for the human mind. It is the original architecture the mind modeled itself upon. The forest teaches knowledge differently. It does not explain. It waits for you to see. That is the oldest form of learning by presence. Even when we do nothing in a forest, we are still learning. In contemplative traditions, there is a concept called objectless awareness, an intelligence that does not cling to thoughts but simply perceives reality as it is. The forest functions the same way. It does not force healing. It changes naturally with conditions. A fallen leaf is not a failure. A rotting trunk is not a mistake. Every state is complete in its own form. Perhaps the reason humans feel safe in forests is not because they are quiet, but because they do not demand anything from us. No performance, no expectation, no judgment. A tree never compares itself to the tree beside it. A seed does not feel guilty for sprouting late. The forest only follows its own rhythm. And by being there, we begin to remember our own. Modern research shows that just 20 minutes in a forest changes gene expression related to immunity and stress. Breathing deeply in air rich in natural terpenes increases NK cells, cancer-fighting cells. What the forest does to the immune system is not magic. It is reactivation. It is the revival of a system the body once depended on but gradually forgot. The forest does not heal. It awakens. Yet the deepest influence of the forest is not on health or focus. It is on our perception of time. In cities, time is linear, counted, compressed, and consumed by schedules and deadlines. In the forest, time is circular. There are moments but no countdown. No one rushes spring to arrive sooner. No organism grows faster just to seize opportunity. The forest lives where everything happens exactly when it must, whether early or late. Human consciousness was once built on that same loop. We lost it, but the memory remains in the body. When we stand over a carpet of fallen leaves, we learn that time is not loss. It is transformation. When we see a dead trunk nourishing new shoots, we learn that death is not an ending. It is a structure of continuation. Maybe that is why a dark ancient forest often feels safer than a city full of lights. That feeling is not logical. It is instinct. The forest is where the mind recognizes its own ancestry. It is not that forests resemble us. It is that we once resembled forests. There is a hypothesis in cognitive biology suggesting that consciousness did not evolve solely inside the brain but was shaped by the environments that built the brain. If that is true, then forests are not only the source of oxygen, they are the source of thought. The reason humans think in systems, create abstractions, and feel deeply may come from millions of years spent inside interwoven ecosystems. The forest is not an external memory. It is interior structure made visible. Every time we walk into a forest, we are not entering nature. We are entering an older version of ourselves. A version that is not forced to rush, compete, or prove worth. A version designed to perceive, to listen, and to coexist with life instead of conquering it. The forest does not speak in human language, but it always asks the same question. Do you remember who you are? When we think of civilization, we think of cities, architecture, laws, language, currency, and written history. To the modern human mind, the forest is still often seen as primitive, wild, undeveloped, and lacking structure. But if we observe long enough, we discover something unexpected. The forest is not uncivilized. It is simply not civilized in the human way. It has territory, communication, infrastructure, alliances, conflict, energy economies, resource distribution, and even technology, biological technology. The underground mycorrhizal network is the clearest example. It is a system of communication, transport, and negotiation more sophisticated than anything humans have built. It sends warning signals about pests from one tree to another. It distributes nutrients according to need, not power. It punishes selfish trees by cutting their supply. It has rules. It has biological ethics. An ancient tree may support the saplings around it for decades, not out of affection, but because chemistry tells it that the forest's future depends on those who will live after it. That is long-term politics far beyond most human planning. In a forest, there are no police, but there is order. No courts, but there are consequences. No currency, yet energy is exchanged. No king, yet some individuals hold ecological influence. And like every advanced civilization, the forest has collective memory, not in language, but in biological architecture. Forests even have wars. When an invasive species arrives, the forest does not surrender. It activates resistance, altering soil pH, releasing growth-inhibiting hormones, changing canopy density. These battles may last centuries, because the forest does not fight to conquer. It fights to stabilize. The forest has no walls, yet it has climate borders. No written laws, yet evolutionary rules govern everything. No schools, yet each organism learns through chemical signals and inherited genetic experience. If civilization is defined as the ability to sustain a system across generations, then the forest is the oldest civilization on Earth. And the forest possesses what human societies rarely accept: the ability to exist without needing validation. A tree does not need to be admired. An ecosystem does not need an audience. In the forest civilization, value is defined by the ability to sustain life, not fame, power, or economic growth. If humans disappear, the forest will continue. If forests disappear, humans will have no civilization left at all. Perhaps what makes the forest the most profound civilization is that it does not depend on control, but on adaptability. Every structure can change, but its core principles remain: sharing, redistribution, equilibrium, and the continuation of life. When we look at a forest, we see something paradoxical: a system too complex to be governed, yet perfectly self-governed. A society without a center, yet never in chaos. A civilization without writing, yet capable of transmitting knowledge across millions of years. The forest is not outside human history. It exists before and after human history. And if true civilization is measured by longevity, then the forest is not a relic of the past. It is the blueprint of the future. It is no coincidence that nearly every ancient civilization once considered forests sacred. From the oracle forest of Dodona in Greece, where people believed Zeus spoke through the rustling leaves, to the Kodama forests of Japan, where each tree housed a spirit, to the sacred groves of the Maya, where every living organism was part of the divine. Different stories, but the same foundation. Humans sensed that the forest possessed a kind of intelligence beyond their comprehension. Before institutional religion, the forest was humanity's first temple. No priests but rituals, no scripture but symbolism, no statues but a presence that made humans walk slower, speak softer, and acknowledge something larger than themselves. The most surprising part is this: modern science is beginning to explain why ancient people considered forests sacred. In the forest, heart rate decreases, cortisol levels drop, the frontal cortex slows down. This is the area of the brain responsible for the ego and the sense of self. When the self quiets, the feeling of the sacred appears. Not because of superstition, because of biology. Some anthropologists believe that belief in forest spirits was not just imagination, but an evolutionary mechanism. If you believe the forest has consciousness, you will not destroy it. You protect it because you assume it feels, observes, and remembers. That belief, even if unprovable, helped humans survive. In Norse mythology, Yggdrasil, the world tree, connects the heavens, earth, and the underworld. But even without myth, the truth behind it remains. The forest is the only system on Earth that continuously connects life, death, and rebirth in a single unbroken loop. In a forest, every death becomes the foundation of new life. That is a cycle humans can only mimic, never fully replicate. Agricultural civilizations often cut forests to make farmland. Spiritual civilizations kept forests to make inner space. Sacred groves were not protected for resources. They were protected because they were not meant to belong to humans. Today, we speak in scientific terms: climate stability, biodiversity, carbon storage. Ancient people used one word: sacred. Yet both languages describe the same reality. The forest is the foundational system for life. When forests disappear, the climate collapses. Water disappears. Humanity does not lose spirituality. It loses the conditions required to exist. Ironically, the more science advances, the more we return to the beginning. The recognition that forests have value beyond material use, value that cannot be measured in timber or carbon credits. Ancient cultures called it spirit. Today, we call it a transcendental psychological experience. Perhaps the forest is not sacred because gods live in it. Perhaps the forest is sacred because it makes us remember how small we are. And to remember that is, in itself, a sacred act. Human history is recorded through writing, memory, and digital storage. But the history of the earth is recorded through forests. A forest preserves time not through stories, but through structure. Each ring, each soil layer, each molecule of carbon is a line of text more accurate than any record we have ever created. Within a tree's trunk, a wide ring means a wet year. A narrow ring marks drought. Sudden changes in the density record a catastrophe. Radiation from nuclear tests in the 1960s is still preserved in tree tissue, just like a timestamp burnt into wood. No tree needs language, yet every tree writes history with its body. Underground, pollen trapped in sediment reveals which species lived thousands of years ago. Seeds sleep in darkness like messages to the future, waiting for the right conditions to wake. Water inside tree cells contains oxygen isotopes that encode the climate of the year it was absorbed. The forest does not just remember, it measures. Seen correctly, every forest is a library. Not a library for humans to read, but a library the forest uses for itself, to adapt, evolve, and anticipate what comes next. Chemical signals inside its cells do not exist to retell the past. They function as data for the future. When a new sapling grows from the stump of a tree that died 300 years ago, it inherits the entire environmental history of its predecessor. CO2 levels, microbial relationships, fungal pathways, and the chemical memory of the soil. Not a single piece of information is lost. The forest does not pass knowledge through words, passes it through the structure. In humans, memory lives in neurons. In a forest, memory lives in soil, air, root networks, and fungal highways that stretch for kilometers. A blue whale may live 90 years. A bristlecone pine may live 5,000. A forest system may endure 100 million. The forest does not remember the lifespan of individuals. It is remembered in the lifespan of ecosystems. Forests also carry the future in ways no civilization can match. When the climate changes slowly, forests migrate across geography over centuries. When climate changes faster than migration allows, forests send seeds through wind, animals, and water, a decentralized strategy of survival. A forest does not insist on remaining where it stands. Its priority is that life continues, regardless of the form it takes. In the northern taiga, scientists revived a 32,000-year-old pine seed. That means a forest stores the future not as a prediction but as a potential. A seed can be the past of a world already gone, and at the same time the future of a world not yet born. The forest does not ask, "What will happen?" It asks, "What must exist so life can continue no matter what happens?" In human society, history often protects power. In the forest, history protects cycles. If humans disappear, the forest will still preserve everything we have done. Not to mourn, but to adjust. Chemical residues, atmospheric CO2, temperature shifts, species displaced across continents. These will not be judged. They will be processed. Not emotionally, evolutionarily. Within every breath of every living tree exists both the imprint of what has been and the blueprint of what will be. Past and future are not separate. In the forest, they are one. Imagine that someday, Earth has only one remaining forest. Not a park, not a plantation, not a restoration project, but the final untouched ecosystem that still functions as a full self-sustaining world. It is no longer vast, but it is still complete. And within its canopy lies everything life has learned over hundreds of millions of years. The memory of ancient climates, the architecture of evolution, the laws of regeneration, a biochemical language refined across thousands of generations. Perhaps by then humans will stand outside looking in. And despite all our technology, our genetic maps, our satellites, our ecological simulations, we will still be unable to recreate what we destroyed. We could replicate scenery, but not the intelligence of a forest. A forest is not a collection of trees. A forest is the relationship between trees, fungi, water, soil, microbes, light, climate, and time. Remove any one of those and the system changes meaning. Remove time, the only resource humans cannot buy, and the system collapses. At that moment, the question is no longer, how do we save the forest? The question becomes, do we still deserve a world that has one? Because the existence of the last forest would not just be a biological crisis. It would be a moral test. If we stand before a system that maintains itself, balances itself, heals itself, and exists without destroying its home, what do we do? Do we freeze it like a museum? Or do we treat it like a teacher? Do we attempt to clone it with technology? Or do we learn how to live the way it does? If the forest represents a civilization built to last millions of years, then everything we're creating now may be nothing more than humanity's earliest, most primitive draft. In the last forest, there is no place for domination, only equilibrium. No place for urgency, only breath. No place for ego, only system. Maybe that is why, when we stand deep in the woods, we do not feel threatened. We feel reminded that life is not possession. It is participation. If the last forest remains, it is not because we protected it. It is because we did not misunderstand it. And if it ever disappears, humanity will not lose a piece of earth. Humanity will lose the map to its own survival. The last forest may contain only a few thousand trees, but it holds the operating system of the entire planet. And if only one forest remains, we may finally understand. We were not born to rule nature. We were born to learn how to belong to it. If trees could speak, they would likely not argue, nor accuse. The forest has no desire to prove itself right. It simply exists, and its existence is evidence. But if these beings were able to use human language, perhaps the first thing they would say is, "We were here long before you, and we have been waiting for you to understand." Because the forest is not angry. It is patient. A tree may take 100 years to grow and only 10 minutes to fall. Yet it does not beg. It simply sends its seeds farther. When threatened, it deepens its roots. When shaded, it reaches higher. When the soil weakens, it makes alliances with fungi. No complaints, only response. If trees could speak, they would not ask why humans destroy forests. They would ask, why do humans believe they can survive without them? Within that silence lies a philosophy humanity rarely touches. Strength is not control, but adaptation. Intelligence is not speech, but structure. We build cities to resist nature. The forest builds systems to merge with nature. We invent infrastructure. The forest becomes infrastructure. Perhaps if trees could answer humanity's questions, they would say, "You look for the future in technology, while the future is already written in our rings." And if humans asked, "What must we do to save the forest?" the forest might reply, "Do not save us. Allow us to do what we have always done, sustain this world." From the perspective of trees, what we call disaster is often just a cycle. They have lived through ice ages, volcanoes, dinosaurs, mass extinctions. They understand that death is not destruction. It is the condition for life to continue. The forest does not fear endings. It fears the loss of cycles. Humans are different. We fear losing control. And because of that, we control more and destroy faster. If an ancient tree could speak to a child, it might say, "Humans are not wrong to seek progress. But they will be wrong if they forget that progress is not moving away from nature. It is learning to move forward with it." And if the forest could ask us questions, they might be these. Do you still know how to listen to silence? Do you still treat time as an ally, not an enemy? Do you still remember what enough feels like? It is not that the forest is slow. It is that we are too fast. The voice of the forest does not sound like ours. It is not loud, not forceful, not dominant. It is a whisper stretched across centuries. A voice that exists even without listeners. A voice that disappears only when those listeners lose the ability to understand. Someday, science may allow us to translate electrical and chemical signals into speech and hear a literal conversation between trees. But even that will matter less than understanding what the forest has always communicated without words. That life is not a resource. That existence is mutual. That nothing truly lives alone. And if trees could speak, perhaps their final sentence would be very simple. We have waited long enough. When you are ready, we will still be here. Forests and the future of human evolution. There is a growing hypothesis among biologists, philosophers, and futurists. Humanity's future may not depend solely on technology, but on relearning the principles that forests mastered hundreds of millions of years ago. Not going backward to live like primitives, but progressing in the same stable direction as nature itself. If we hope to exist for hundreds of thousands or even millions of years, rockets and AI may not be the deepest answer. The most advanced survival systems on the planet are not digital. They are ecological. Forests have persisted through extinctions, cataclysms, and climate shifts not because they are fast, but because they are stable. Human civilization is roughly 300,000 years old. Industrial civilization only 3 centuries. The entire modern era is a razor-thin slice of time. Meanwhile, forests have been here for more than 360 million years. No human empire, no ideology, no technology has ever lasted long enough to compare. So if we treat the forest as a complete evolutionary model, a serious question emerges. Are we truly evolving? Or are we simply accelerating down the wrong path? A phone lasts a few years. A building lasts perhaps a century. A sequoia lives 3,000 years. A primary forest can maintain its structure for millions, even as individual trees come and go. The forest is not immortal because each tree survives forever. It is immortal because its system does. When a forest evolves, it does not seek speed but durability. When a forest learns, it does not store data, it builds relationships. When a forest faces crisis, it does not panic, it reorganizes. Everything humanity is trying to solve with technology, forests already solved with biology and time. The next human revolution may not be higher technology, but deeper ecological intelligence. When futurists speak of civilization-scale resilience, they are describing what forests have done since the Paleozoic era. A society that is self-sustaining, self-organizing, and self-repairing without centralized control. The forest has no king, yet it has order. No police, yet it has law. No master blueprint, yet everything functions. The operating system is not inside a single entity, but embedded in the network itself. Humanity is trying to build systems like this: blockchain, decentralized networks, distributed AI, circular economies. But if we are honest, all of these are attempts to imitate how forests already work. The forest is a civilization without a center, but not without structure. It can lose individuals without losing itself. If humans want to last, we must become more like forests. Sustainable instead of fast, cooperative instead of dominant, cyclical instead of linear. Perhaps one day forests will not be viewed as resources, but as design manuals for civilization. And when that happens, ideas like progress and development will change meaning. Progress will no longer mean acceleration. Progress will mean longevity. If future archaeologists dig up the remains of our era, they may not judge us by artificial intelligence or spacecraft, but by how we treated forests, the system that existed long before us and will likely exist after us. One day, instead of asking how humans can conquer nature, we may finally ask what humans can learn from the oldest living system on Earth. The forest will not answer in words. It never has. But it has been answering for hundreds of millions of years simply by continuing to exist. And if we understand its message, it may be the first time in history that human civilization does not fight nature, but becomes the next extension of it. The future will not come from replacing forests. The future will come from realizing that we are part of the forest, whether we are made of wood, silicon, or light. And now, as our journey comes to an end, I'd like you to pause and realize that every story you've just heard about forests is also a story about you. You too are being shaped by sunlight. You too were raised on the breath of trees. You too are built from millions of years of evolution and memory written quietly into your cells. The forest is not separate from us. We were never opposites. We are simply one small branch of the same living system, trying to remember what the forest has never forgotten. That existence is not competition, but continuation. If the forest could leave you with one final message before you fall asleep, perhaps it would be something simple. Grow slowly, like a ring of wood. Love deeply, like a network of roots. Wait patiently, like a seed. And when you don't know how to move forward, stop and listen to silence. Because that is the oldest language the forest still speaks. The forest does not need you to do anything right now. No plans, no decisions, no grand intentions. Just presence. Just breath. And if you fall asleep while listening to these words, let it happen softly. Sleep is not the absence of awareness. It is the moment consciousness returns to its original, simple state of life, just like a forest in the dark, still growing. Tomorrow will come, just as the sun rises over the canopy without ever needing an alarm. Thank you for staying until the end. Thank you for listening to a voice that is impossibly ancient. And if you ever wish to return, the forest will be here, still breathing, still waiting, still holding a place for you within the deepest green pulse of the earth. Sleep peacefully, and I'll see you in the next story. From Moon Whisper Sleep, where science becomes the universe's lullaby. Good night.